August 29th, 2019. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 189 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Now, on the last episode, Mike, you went on a rant about a player who stepped up to the craps table when I was having a really good roll, and he bought in for $500, ended up not making any bets, and in fact, walking away from the table, and my next roll was a 7-out.
Right.
It was quite a rant. In fact, when I was editing the episode, I thought, I wonder if I should cut some of this out. And I thought, no, it's making for good podcast. I think I'll just leave most of it in. I think the listeners kind of got a kick out of it, and you were able to vent some steam on the whole thing.
Well, that's what I needed, to vent some steam.
Right. Yeah. And you called this player Adolf. You had basically assigned a name to him. And a couple of days later, somebody on Twitter wrote, what night did Adolf show up? And I wrote back and told him the night, and he said, damn, that was me. It's a long story, but inexcusable. I actually came out there to meet you both, didn't know what you looked like, and was a bit drunk at the time, don't remember much. So it was actually
that explains actually a lot.
So we got kind of a kick out of that when that happened. And you were writing me, and you said you kind of felt bad about it, but I don't think there's any reason to feel bad. I mean,
well, the funny thing is the guy didn't seem drunk to me.
Okay.
The guy at the casino. Now, the listener may have been drunk. It may have not been him.
Oh, it had to have been him.
You think so?
Well, I mean, he's claiming it is.
Yeah.
And he would remember buying in for $500. I mean,
well, maybe.
We'll have to take his word for it, I guess.
Well, I feel bad if it was somebody who was there to meet us, but can't go back on it. It's what I said.
Yeah, even if it was somebody there to meet us, though, I mean, he was a human being even before you knew that. So,
well, I didn't actually know he was a human being.
Oh, okay.
I mean, with robotics and stuff, who knows what he was?
It could have been a shill, a robotic shill.
A robotic shill.
The casino had sent,
Yeah, they have those at Harris. I'm pretty sure.
You get close to one of them, you can hear the gears.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can see smoke coming out their ears and stuff.
So, Adolf, come on back. We'd like to meet you if, in fact, you were the one who bought in.
He didn't say his name on his tweets.
He didn't say his name. He's got, his Twitter handle. I don't know if that has his name in it or not, but maybe he'll come out again. Come on up to us.
Well, if he does, I'll buy all his drinks that night.
Okay.
And that's saying a lot, because if he was that drunk that he cashed in for $500 and just walked away, I'm going to be buying a lot of drinks.
Very good. Well, I'm actually back from Las Vegas. It was a secret trip that I took with my family. We were celebrating my son's 21st birthday, and I didn't mention it on the show because I knew we were going to be doing basically family stuff the whole time. And I really wouldn't even have time to meet up with listeners. Plus, who wants to meet Mark, right? Hey, are you Mark from You Can Bet on That? Yeah, I sure am.
That's your reason.
Where's Dr. Mike? He's not here.
I'll see you later. Yeah, that was your reason.
But honestly, I was not at the tables very much. We were off doing other stuff. For example, we went.
Well, you took your mom and dad, your sisters, your son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a family thing.
Yeah, it definitely was. And
you were spending most of your time sunbathing by the pool.
No, but you're on the right track there. Okay. Yeah, we ended up going to the Mob Museum on Saturday, and of course, people have gone on about how great the Mob Museum is, and it really is. It's very interesting, very well done. The only thing I would say is we were there on a Saturday, and it was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
So it was maybe a little hard to get around, and you had to wait to see.
You were there a long
exhibits.
time, it seemed like.
Oh, for sure. You can spend a lot of time there. We were there between 2 and 3 hours, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's very well done. So I would recommend that to everybody, but maybe try to go in the middle of the week.
What were the limits on the craps tables?
See, this is the thing. I was hardly at the craps tables at all.
No, at the Mob Museum.
Oh. Outrageous. I felt like I was being robbed.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you didn't play much. I could tell because I kept messaging you and you weren't playing. How's it going? We're at the museum.
Yeah, right. I will say this, though, for the sessions that we had, I had only one losing session. And that was, of course, the last day, Sunday morning, when if you're up, you're not supposed to play at all. That was my only losing session. But, we had a very good time. And my son particularly liked Pai Gow poker. We played a lot of that.
That's good.
Yep. In fact, I texted you at one point. There were 3 hands in a row. I got queen high, and then on the third hand, I said to the dealer, please just don't give me queen high again. Jack high.
Wow.
queen high, jack high. And so after that, I was a little more clear. I asked for at least a pair. And but even that was a winning session, even with those bad hands.
Nice.
I told you there was one hand, too, in particular, where it was another player, but this player won with a 7-3 in her 2-card hand. It beat the dealer's 7-2.
Wow.
They both had straights or flushes. Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, right. So that was kind of interesting.
Probably the only way you'll ever play 7-2 on the top.
Yeah, I can't imagine what else it would be other than a straight or a flush. We stayed at Bally's. My host, James, set us up with a real nice suite and kind of an adjoining room for my parents and for David and me. And then my sisters were up on a higher floor. And apparently, overnight, that first night, the fire alarm went off on those higher floors. We were still in the same building.
Right.
But we didn't hear it on ours. And my sisters were saying it was so loud. Sometimes you hear that and it turns off and it's like, okay, it's nothing.
Right.
But it was so loud, you couldn't even be in the room. You know how that pitching, right?
Wow.
Plus, remember, Bally's is the old MGM Grand.
Yeah, that burned
with that
down.
Horrible fire. Right. Where, many people died. So they're thinking, well, let's, get down. And they were pretty upset because not a lot of other people were. They started heading down the stairs, right? Of course. Uh-huh. They didn't see a lot of other guests.
Yeah, most people ignore those.
Yeah, but I guess
we've
it was
been in rooms
sure.
We just ignore it.
But this was going so long. They actually stopped on our floor because they were concerned about getting my parents out of the room.
Right.
But the alarm wasn't going off on our floor. We didn't wake up at all.
Huh, that's funny.
They continued down to the street. There was nobody waiting for them. There was no one to tell them what was going on.
It was just a mistake.
Well,
right?
Apparently it had to do with the overhead sprinklers. They were testing it or something. They never really got a good answer.
Well, that's weird.
But this is pretty bad.
They're testing it in the middle of the night?
Well, again, who knows what was really happening. But you would think that no matter what time of day, there would be personnel that as soon as an alarm goes off, they've got their suits on, their reflective suits, and they're going to tell people what to do,
right?
To get and so this was a pretty bad situation, yeah. So.
Well, fortunately, it wasn't a fire. That's the good news,
yes, right? Yes,
because that would have been disastrous.
Yep.
Ruin your whole trip.
Yep.
And the other good thing is that it wasn't all the floors, because you could imagine the pandemonium.
Yeah, going down the stairs and everything.
Right, for a false alarm, basically. That would have been really bad.
And you would think, and I don't know enough about fire safety, but you would think that if an alarm is going off on some upper floors, they'd also be going off on the bottom floors just to evacuate people.
Right, to get people out.
So, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's probably a glitch in some computer, Mark. Mm-hmm. And you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
So I almost guarantee that's the problem.
Yeah. The reason we have a podcast is because of computers now.
I know, and I'm not happy about that either, okay? I'd like to word of mouth. I'd like to just meet people and give them a podcast.
Just hi. Or in the old days when people would exchange cassette tapes. Like, hey, you want to hear my podcast?
That's right. Here's
it along.
My cassette tape. Yeah, I long for the days of Pony Express.
Sure you do.
And Morse Code.
Yeah.
Morse Code podcast.
Sure. Yep, I know you do.
That'd be a lot of tapping.
One of the things we wanted to check out was the stadium gaming over at the Link. They actually call it arena gaming. And so we went over there. It's pretty nice. It's not terribly big, but every time we went over, there were plenty of seats. You can play craps, blackjack, baccarat, and roulette one at a time or all at once.
Nice.
In some ways, it was kind of crappy, though. First of all, okay, the craps was like a bubble craps machine, and there was a camera on it. and the overhead screen was all messed up, so you couldn't really see the roll. Yeah. And at one point, my sister was playing roulette, and in the middle of her roulette screen, the pictures of the dice rolling came up. Things like that.
Oh, a computer glitch. Well, that's odd.
The blackjack was not a live dealer. It looks like they had it set up so that it could be a live dealer, but in this case, it was just a computer. And there was something interesting.
Was it one of those real pretty computer girls?
No, it was like an animated. It wasn't, one of the, like a real person. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way that it worked on blackjack, I had never seen this before. You could play 3 hands, 1, 2, or all 3 hands against the dealer on any particular blackjack hand. And you could choose to make a decision on any one of the hands in any order. So you didn't have to start with like the one on your left. You could start with the one in the middle, then move to the one to the right, then the one to the left, however you wanted to do it. So depending on which one you chose to act on first, the community card, you know how those community cards come up on the stadium gaming, that would be the card that you would get. If you took a hit on the left side hand, you would get that first community card. Whereas, maybe my sister next to me, she's taking a hit on her right card hand. Well, she'd get that same community card.
Oh,
so it would be different.
On that one.
So even though everybody in this arena is being dealt the same initial 2 cards, depending on which hand they act on first, you could get a different result.
I gotcha.
But when it came to the dealer's hand, the dealer always got the same card for everybody. So it was like the dealer never got one of the community cards. The community cards were dealt out only as player cards, potential player cards.
Right.
And then when it came time for the dealer for everybody got the same card. So if the dealer had 16 and drew a 9, then the dealer busted for all players.
For everybody.
Yeah. So that was a little bit different. I guess that was okay. But anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you can do anything.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you can set that up any way you want.
You can set it up any way you want. And what I did was I basically went $18 across on the craps game and then just put that in the background and then just played blackjack the whole time. And I would look down every once in a while. Whenever there was a 7 out, there was a button I could hit repeat bet, and I just, 18 across again. So
well, you should have been playing roulette at the same time, too. Just pick one number and bet it every time.
And just have it there. I should.
Yeah, just, a quarter on it every time.
Just so I could say it on the show, I should have had all 4 games going in some way.
Right.
But I didn't. No.
That's too much. That would melt my mind.
It was hard enough, just blackjack and craps.
I can't believe it. I mean, I can't believe somebody could play all 4.
We were there just a very short time. We ate at Giordano's the first night, which is the deep dish pizza place kind of right by Bally's.
Right in the front there.
We really like that. And my dad is not a fan of deep dish, and they have thin crust pizza that you can get there as well, too. And then the second night, we were only there 2 nights. We ate at Burger Brasserie. You know that. We've eaten there a few times.
That's good.
It's between Bally's and Paris, but it's really closer to Bally's. It's like right there.
Right by Bally's.
I know.
But it's in the hallway on the way to Paris.
It's funny because they used to call it a Paris restaurant, and even the brasserie, and now I think they actually said, no, it's part of Bally's because it is right there. Anyway, my host James, I had never met in person before. We talked on the phone many times and emails, that kind of thing, but we'd never actually met. So he came over while we were eating to introduce himself, and I introduced him to the whole family. We were talking about all sorts of things, and he was asking when I was planning on coming out again. And I said, oh, well, probably in October. Actually, my friend Mike and I were coming out for an event downtown. And he said, oh, what's the event? And I said, well, my friend Mike and I have a gambling podcast, and we're going down there. It's kind of this gambling meetup. And he said, oh, is it anything like VIMF, the 500 by Midnight podcast? And I was like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
My host, who, I had never talked about the show before, has heard of VIMF and 500. And I said, yeah, absolutely. We did our show at one of the VIMFs. This is sort of the successor to VIMF, we're going to the summit. So I gave him my card, and
but he had heard of 500, but not us.
Not us, right? So
yeah. Boy. Well, we'll have to have a talk with that guy.
So James, if you're listening, I want to apologize for not giving you much play this weekend. I even said, "Oh man, I'm itching to get to the table." He said, "I understand you're entertaining your family." So.
Right.
One thing at Burger Brasserie, Mike, and you'll remember this. I think if you're Diamond or 7 stars, certainly if you're 7 stars. They automatically, at the end of your meal, bring you a vanilla shake.
Nice.
Do you remember that? It's a little cup. It's not like a big cup, but they just bring it over.
Right.
It's almost like a sampler kind of thing.
Right. Dad, you kind of remember
Yeah, that's
that
just,
now.
gratis. So that's nice.
They should pour it on a plate.
Well, of course they did. That's how you should drink all milkshakes. It's just straight on a plate. Anyway, it was a good trip. Everybody won, which is pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because we're all playing different stuff. Mostly Pai-Gow poker for David and me. My parents, my sisters, mostly slots. But yeah, everybody came home a winner. So yeah, it was a good trip. Yeah.
How about Elle?
I assume Elle won. She was actually there for the 7 stars. It was like a 7 stars weekend. Right. So she had all this stuff. So I don't know how she ultimately did. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah. Well, we were wondering about that because we saw she did a lot of other things.
Right. Because she
saw it on Facebook.
She had planned this trip way before we had decided.
Right.
We just happened to be the same weekend. Yeah.
Well, while you are in Vegas on your secret trip, I'm holding us up at Harrah's, Southern California, and meeting listeners.
Yeah?
3 listeners met up with me that weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Max and his wife, who live in Lake Forest, which is up in Orange County, met me. And it was funny because I said, how did you know it was me? Mm-hmm. And they said, well, we saw a guy here at the $25 table for several hours, and I kind of was keeping an eye on how you were betting, and I figured it had to be you. So he came up, and it was me. So, yeah, they were very nice. They didn't play, but we talked for a while. And then later that same night, Jason, who called once before about the 50-cent pieces.
Oh, okay.
He was the one who had talked about 50-cent pieces. Mm-hmm. He just came up to the table, started playing, and it turns out it was just him and I on that side of the table. Mm-hmm. And after a little while, he just looked at me and said, you wouldn't happen to be Dr. Mike? Yeah, I am. And so another person who just said, well, I figured the way you were playing. Anyway, we talked about his wife collecting quarters, bicentennial quarters. And then the next day, Rob from Texas just happened to show up on the table. Same thing. Saw, I see where you're playing. Are you Dr. Mike? Anyway, he's originally from Northern California, but lives in Texas now.
Okay.
Or works in Texas. Anyway, he was out here. He had emailed us about a NorCal report.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so
yeah.
Harrah's,
Yeah, that's
Cal.
right. Yeah.
So, and all super nice people. And one other thing I got to mention happened that just fascinated me.
All right.
So a player a regular out at Harrah's, Southern California, whose name it happens to be David.
Okay.
So earlier, before I got there, earlier in the day on Saturday, he rolled 6 to the fire himself on a table. He told me it was the first time he's ever had 6 to the fire that he's been on or ever won any money on.
Okay, right.
And he rolled it. So then I got there later. It was a couple hours after he had rolled his fire. He came up to the table. He was rolling. He had 3 consecutive rolls of a hard 4 on the dice. So 4-4 on the dice.
4-4 on the dice. So what did that translate to?
Which translated to a 2.
Ace on the cards.
Ace on the cards. So 3 aces in a row. And then the next 3 consecutive rolls were 3-3.
On the dice.
On the dice. Translating into a 12, a 6-6 on the cards. So he rolled 3 hard 8s, followed by 3 hard 6s, and nobody won any money because they were 2s and 12s. It was so ridiculous, Mark. I mean, and that was his roll.
Yeah.
He came out on a number, rolled all those 2s and 12s, and then 7'd out. But I mean, can you imagine? I was flabbergasted. Well, first of all, for somebody to roll 6 hard ways in a row, 6 pairs in a row, is pretty amazing.
Sure.
And it's just funny that they were hard. Now, if that were in Vegas, 3 hard 8s followed by 3 hard 6s, you know how much money I would have won?
Yeah, you would have been doing well, my friend.
Yeah, very well. Oh my God, it was crazy.
Yeah, we need to go up and petition the legislature to change that.
Yes,
so next time
exactly.
you'll be a winner.
But that's how I spent my week when I was holding down the you can bet on that while you were secretly in Vegas.
Secretly in Vegas. All right. Well, I'll join you again at Harrah's this weekend. So usually I'll go there during my lunch to get some free play. I just haven't had time. Work's been too busy.
And the funny thing is we've been having a pretty rough Friday nights. The last 3 Friday nights.
Anytime that we together go on a Friday night, it's been brutal.
And I go on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and win all 4 nights, and a couple of them pretty big wins.
Yeah.
So this week, we're not going on Friday.
No, we're going on Saturday. So if we lose again...
It's a holiday weekend. Yeah. If we lose on Saturday, it's you.
Me. Yeah.
If we win, then it's just us on Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll never go on Friday again.
Yeah. Well, we got an email from listener Seth. He was at Harrah's New Orleans recently, and he said that the only 3-2 blackjack was on tables $20 or higher, which is not unusual. You know, you go into casinos and the lower tables are 6-5, and you have to go to higher limits for 3-2. Well, what really got his attention was that the low limit blackjack tables, which paid 6-5, also had a requirement that players make the side bet. So if it was a $5 table, you had to bet at least $5 on the blackjack hand and at least $5 on the side bet. You had to bet them both.
That's crazy.
And he said that it was different side bets at different tables. It wasn't all the same side bet, right? But you had to do that.
Now, I've never heard of that where you're forced to make the side bets. The side bet's kind of like a goofy bet with a high house edge typically. Yeah. So why would they force you to make that?
Especially if you're paying 6-5. You know, if you don't want to pay 6-5 on your low limit, but you still want to cash in your casino, just make it 3-2 and then force the side bet. But both of them?
Right.
I guess if I had to choose, I would prefer 6-5 and not force them to make the side bet.
Right.
Rather than 3-2 and force them to. Because forcing
anybody to make a bet. I mean, I understand, if you're playing the game, you have to make a bet on the game, right? Yeah. But extra bets, that'd be like going to the craps table. Well, sir, sorry, everyone has to take a hard 6.
That's right.
It's a requirement.
Yeah. I want to say maybe we heard about this too on a cruise ship or something, but I hope this doesn't become a trend. That would not be good.
That'll not be good. If that becomes a trend, they'll lose business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple. People won't play.
I want to agree with you, but the reason 6-5 is still around is because people play it.
Yeah, but what about forcing you to make side? What if it's a $15 table? Then it's really a $30
then it's something
table.
else. Sure, that's something else. Yeah,
that's unreal.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to justify paying a dealer when the minimum at the table is only $5, and this is the way they do it.
Well, that could be. I mean, they may be thinking we need more action. Well, then just don't have $5 tables. Have $10 tables, right?
Yeah, right.
And just you don't have to do the side bet. Still have the side bet if somebody wants to bet it.
Yeah, have it there. $10 tables, and if you're doing 6-5, whatever.
And if you're doing 6-5, a $10 table, and if you want to make a side bet, go ahead and put another 10 out there. You can make that a minimum 10, but not force you to play it, right?
No, I don't like it. Well, remember we got a call recently from a listener who said he had a rude surprise when a video blackjack machine paid him 6-5 on a blackjack when the machine used to pay 3-2. He'd played it for a long time, and then suddenly one day was paying 6-5. Right. And he asked us if we had ever had a similar experience where the rules kind of unexpectedly change on a game that we were used to playing. We said we really couldn't remember that ever happening. But then listener Jeff sent us an email saying, well, what about video poker? Remember you guys used to have full pay bonus poker out at Harrah's, Southern California, and then one day it wasn't there anymore. Yeah, I forgot about that. I guess I was so focused on table games.
We were thinking about table games.
But we've had some video poker pay tables change on us.
Wasn't quite the same because it wasn't a surprise like we put our money in the machine and then got paid differently. We knew ahead of time
because we always looked.
We always looked, and we looked, and we were like, wait, where'd it go?
Yeah,
So it wasn't like we put our money in and couldn't get it back.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
Or free play. So if you put your free play in, you've got to play through it. You're committed once it's in that machine. You cannot get it back out.
Right. Well, Jeff, in the same email, he had a few questions for us. Number one, how has the availability of odds changed over the years? He's talking about free odds on craps. I think you said in an earlier episode that double odds used to be fairly standard, but I remember hearing about a Dr. Mike 100 times odds put bet session waiting in line for a meal. Yeah, back in those old days, almost every casino was double odds.
Yes.
But Binion's downtown,
Benny Binion would let you go 100 times odds.
Yeah.
And that's where that was.
And
that was the only place that there was no 3, 4, 5 then.
No.
It was 2 times everywhere except for Binion's.
That's right, 2 times. And then over the years, you would hear things about, I think, the Stratosphere for a while had 100 times odds or stuff.
For
Casino Royale.
Right.
But then it eventually evolved to this 3, 4, 5 that they see now. And now, luckily, other parts of the country, too, 5 times odds, 10 times odds. But that didn't really start to happen until the 90s, do you think, that odds started to increase? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'd say maybe mid-90s even.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
And the 3, 4, 5 makes sense because then the payouts are the same.
Yeah, right.
I think that was a matter of to make it easier for dealers. So
right.
if someone took full odds, the payout was always the same. It's 7 times your line bet.
Yes, exactly. No matter what, as long as you're taking full odds every time, 7 times your line bet. Yeah. Another question: have any other odds or table rules changed significantly? We're talking about craps. No rules.
Well, the 6-5 blackjack payout versus 3-2.
Oh, you're talking about just all table games. Yeah, that's the big one. Of course,
that's the big one.
Yeah. And then when did craps side bets start, and what is the current trend? I think that was also mid-'90s, don't you think? Or late 90s?
Maybe late 90s.
Yeah, we first started seeing fire bet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the more all tall, all small, and the repeater bet, those are relatively new. Those are like in the last 10 years.
I think the trend now, even though the fire bet is going away, the trend is 3 different kinds of side bets. You have the ones that are like fire bets, which are dependent on the shooter rolling a certain number of passes or points. Right. And then there's the all tall small type of bets. We heard of one recently where it wasn't quite all tall small. It was like all the box numbers versus all the horn numbers, or rolling them all. Right. In that.
Right.
And then the other is like the repeater bet that you're seeing quite a bit now. We've also seen other bets where you get paid if the shooter rolls every type of 6 and every type of 5. Right. What for the 6, 1 5, 2 4, 3 3. Right. And then some other point, like a 5, 1 4, 2 3. They keep track that way. So I think those are the 3 different categories in the trends now, right now, for crap sides bets.
It's a matter of preference. There's no advantage of one over another. They all have high house edges.
They all have high house edges, and I would say that dealers probably will complain about some over the other.
Oh, well, the dealers love the fire bet because it's one bet. And
they hardly have to do
It.
anything. Yeah. But
the repeater bet.
That's probably their least favorite because it's pretty much every roll they have to remember to put something out.
And it's work.
Yeah. And then a final question. Were you confused the first time you saw crapless craps, or had you heard about it before you saw it? The first time we saw it was probably at Vegas World, which is now Stratosphere, or the Strat, I should say. And that was Bob Stupak. He's the one who actually invented crapless craps. So, no, we had heard about it before.
We had heard about it before we went on that trip. And then we were curious to play it.
Yeah. And I think we played it for a little while. And
we were like, it's not that much fun, really. I mean,
so whatever. Anyway, thanks for those questions, Jeff. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's take some phone calls. First up is Ryan.
Hey guys, Ryan from Vegas. Seems like I always got some sort of story because it's so easy to just go to the casino. There's one on every corner here. But the other day I was playing at Red Rock Casino here. I was playing craps and I was talking to the dealer, and we were talking about the superstition that when the stick changes, dealers to turn off all your bets because some people think it's bad luck. Well, we were just talking about it, and the stick changed, and then, of course, the next roll was a 7, so we just kind of laughed about it. I didn't have anything crazy out on the table. But later on in the night, we got on some hot rolls, and then that same dealer ended up coming back to his spot after his break, and I got up to, I would say, about $1,800 on the table, and the stick changed. And he looked at me, and he just kind of laughed. And I was like, man, that's what everybody talks about, turning their bets off. But we let it roll. Then, of course, it was a 7. So they start pulling the stuff off the table, and he leaves all mine on there. And I just kind of look at him, and he said, oh, no, you told me that you wanted them off. You were telling me you wanted them off, right? And I was like, yeah. He said, all right. So he kept them off, and I ended up turning that $1,800 into about $3,500, and then I tipped the dealers a couple $100 just for helping me out on that. So at the end of the day, if you're cool with dealers and you talk to them, and I was tipping them throughout, the dealers, they will help you out. If you forget your odds, if you forget different things, those guys help you out. I know you guys have talked about some experiences you've had with them, helping you out, or if you forget to put your odds. As long as you help them out, they'll help you out. So, moral of the story is tip your dealers, guys. It could save you $1,800. Take it easy, guys.
Yep, turn your bets off and tip your dealers. Yeah, always good advice. Maybe they'll run something through for you. All right, next up is Alan.
Hey, guys. How's it going? This is Alan from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I love your guys' podcast, but I was just giving a trip report here. Went to Puerto Rico for my honeymoon, actually. The honeymoon was great. We went to some sightseeing and went on a little excursion to an island, and that was great too. I did go to a few different casinos there. I got quite a few, actually. And I spent most of my time at Casino Del Mar. That's in the newer side of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Played craps a lot. Played some blackjack. I played London deal blackjack, which that was actually the first time I played London deal. It was kind of weird how they dealt the cards, dealer getting his card last. But as far as the craps go, they had the all tall, all small. And that was actually the first time I've ever been to a casino that they had offered that. And, so I was betting it every time. And this one guy, he had this great roll. He ended up hitting the all tall, all small. And I had $10 on each of them. It was 175 to 1 for the all. Actually, that was really nice. So we ended up going back to the hotel with a little bit of money there. He had this system where he would do a 4-up and a 6-up. So it was a 10-up every time. And he'd set them, he'd touch the table once, then he'd grab them and toss them. And he had a nice clean roll, and it worked out great for him. It was actually a $5 minimum table, which was really nice. Played the odds. They had 10 times odds there. Yeah, it was a great trip, guys.
All right, good. So thanks for the report. Yeah, I don't think we've gotten many reports, if any, from Puerto Rico. So
no, I didn't know they had that many casinos.
Yeah,
there.
10 times odds and all tall, small down there too. So yeah, that's
nice.
good. And congratulations on your honeymoon as well. Yeah.
What kind of currency do they use in Puerto Rico?
Well, it's America, right? So I assume it's dollars. I don't think they have their own currency.
I assumed it was dollars.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's some local currency or something.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. No,
it's dollars.
Yeah,
Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
because when you go seriously, when you're out of the country and you're somewhere else, it's that exchange money thing can get a little confusing.
Well, of course, sure. Even just going up to Canada, right?
Yeah.
We've had listeners talk about it. Yeah,
right. I mean, well, it's just it's like. You get kind of confused about how much you're actually betting.
That's right. Oh, thank you, senor.
Yeah. Right.
All right, next call.
Mark and Dr. Mike, this is longtime listener, first-time caller, Dan from Michigan. You guys do a great job. Throughout the day, I do a lot of driving. I've had a chance to re-listen to a bunch of your episodes. I was listening to episode 168 the other night, and it talked about scratching that itch. And I just wanted to leave you and the listeners a little something that I've been doing here in Michigan. I'm sure it's everywhere, but it's a gambling league that was started in 2012, and it's run through a website called officefootballpool.com. And the beauty of this for me is I'm not the type of person that's very interested in fantasy. I don't have the patience. I feel like it's a lot of work. So this league offers a chance to gamble on every game while not having a huge risk out there. And what it is we have a host that runs the league. The website takes care of everything for us. The host sets an amount, and everybody pays their buy-in. And after that, everybody that bought in gets 1,000 shares. And starting week 1, which would be August 24th of this year for college football, and then in whatever the first week of the NFL is, starting with those weeks, Tuesday, Wednesday night, officefootballpool.com releases all the lines, which tend to follow the Vegas lines. It gives you the opportunity to bet over-under, money line, the spreads themselves, and then also do parlays, up to 10-team parlays. So you start the beginning of the year. The league we're in runs through the bowl season playoffs and then through the Super Bowl. And then, it pays out like a poker tournament. So just wanted to throw that out there to your listeners. It's officefootballpool.com. It's really turned it around for me as far as having something to do all year. Putting 5 points on a Maction game on a Wednesday night can be fun to do. So you guys do great. Keep it up, and thanks, guys.
Yeah, officefootballpool.com. In fact, Vinny Chen's, who set up the podcast superiority pool that we're in, that's the website that he used. And you have a lot of options. For example, the pool that we're in, we're going to pick 3 teams each week, and it's going to be weighted. It's going to be against the spread and weighted, a certain number of points. Or you can go and just do a traditional pool, where, it's just pick them every week, whoever. Or something like what Dan says he's in, where it sounds like you get, all these fake dollars or, play money, and you can bet however you want the whole season.
At the end of the year, see
whoever has the most. Yeah. So it is a pretty good site. Yeah, check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah, Dan's a person after my own heart. Because honestly, doing fantasy leagues, too much work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work if you really want to keep up on it, and especially like fantasy baseball, making trades and watching everything. This is just fun that you can do at your own pace.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Definitely. And, it's funny because it's almost like the sports betting that we're doing right now, you and I, because we talk about it. Oh, we're doing good. We're doing bad. We're not betting that much money.
No.
We really are not.
Not compared to what we play at craps.
We really aren't. But still, we get really, excited about it. It's like, hey, did you see this? We're winning today. So
well, it's something to do every day.
Yes. Well, certainly during baseball season.
Right.
Yes.
Shit, baseball season is great.
Yeah.
Well, football now, Thursday,
I know you've
Friday,
got, especially if you include
Sunday,
college.
Monday.
Yeah.
If you include college. It's like Tuesday and Wednesday are the only nights you're not doing anything.
That's right.
And you're probably going to be betting on, NBA and
That's
hockey.
right. And hockey's coming up now too. Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hey guys, it's Adam from Connecticut. Just calling to discuss some place betting versus the pass line. I actually had a dealer down at Mohegan Sun last weekend explain to me that unless you're taking 5 times odds, it's not really worth playing the pass line. You're better off just waiting for the point and then placing some numbers, so, going inside. I switched my strategy. I was only playing the pass line if I was the one shooting, and then I was sometimes not taking odds, sometimes taking odds, and then placing a bunch of numbers. My question for you guys is, if you guys are playing a similar strategy, and let's say the come-out roll is a 5, do you place the point number, or do you place all the other inside numbers? The attitude that I was taking, I was placing 32 or 34 inside, not including the point, and then 44 if it was the 4 or the 10. It's kind of nice because once you start rolling a lot of numbers, you're not having to hit them as many times to recover your money. I enjoyed it. I used to play the 3-point molly a lot. I enjoyed just throwing the money out there and then collecting it all back. Once I recovered all my money, I started pressing numbers up at least 1 unit every hit until I got to 5 units, and then I would just let it ride from there. I would also at times take a $15 4 or 10, or sometimes both, depending how high I was up. And once it would hit, I would buy it for a quarter, and that was working out pretty well as well. Just curious, again, my main question for you guys tonight is whether or not you place the point if you're not playing the pass line. All right, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, I want to clarify a few things here because I think there are multiple questions there. First of all, when the dealer told you that it's better to wait until the point has been established and then place it instead of betting the pass line, that's just wrong. From a mathematical standpoint, that's just wrong.
Right.
No.
Well, you're losing the advantage on the come out.
That's right. There are 8 rolls that win for you on the come out roll and 4 that lose, automatics, right? You win with a 7-11, you lose 2, 3, 12. So you're missing out on that. Okay, so it is better mathematically to play the pass line and take odds than to wait for the point to be established and then place that point. Now, what the dealer might have been getting at, especially since he mentioned at least 5 times odds, what he might have been getting at is in some situations, it is better to make a put bet than a place bet.
If that casino allows put bets,
right, and
then it is better to make a put bet.
And we won't go through all that. Go back and listen to episode 54. We talk about buy bets versus place bets versus put bets. Right. There are some times when it's better to make a put bet than a place bet.
And it is when it's 5 times or better odds.
Now, what it sounds like the real question here is the philosophical question of what's better, come bets or place bets. Right? And we've talked about this many times. It really is a philosophical question. We can say for certainty that mathematically in the long run, you will lose less money by making come bets than place bets. But play however you like.
Well, and his final question was, if you do not make a pass line bet, when a point is established, do you also place the point? And my answer is yes, I do. And the reason that at one point I was not making line bets and I was just making place bets is because you get a higher rating.
Sure, that's a reason
because
to do it.
They're not rating your odds as well as they would rate putting all your money on a place bet, a total place bet.
Yep.
So I was doing it for a ratings thing,
right?
But I also would place the point. And then I thought to myself, I'm missing out all those come rolls, even though I bet a 3-way 7 on the come out. Yeah. So I went back to pass line with odds.
if I don't have a bet on the pass line, and if I don't, it's probably because I'm just getting back from the restroom or something like that, and I'm coming back to the table, I will place the point only because I want to be on the point with everybody at the table.
Right.
It's just that kind of a thing. But, again, with this philosophical question, you always say, well, I prefer the place bet because, if I bet on a 6, it's got to hit twice if I make a come bet. If I make a place bet, it only has to hit once. Well, what if it hits 0 times? Right? If it hits 0 times, you lose your place bet, but you don't lose your come bet because it never went up to that number.
Right.
Now, I know that's kind of a weird way to think of it, but it's all math ultimately. Come bets mathematically are better.
Right. And have you noticed at Harrah's, Southern California, a lot of people do not make pass line bets on the come out, and then they place all the numbers. They go all the way across afterwards. And it's not so much for ratings. I think what it is because they want to put like $12 on 6 and 8 and $10 on a 5 and 9. And they feel like if they put $10 on the line, they're compelled to put odds. And so now they've got like $20 on a 5, even if they do single odds.
You certainly fall into that camp. We've told the story many times where you said, Mark, can we leave this casino where there's 10 times odds? It's killing me. Let's go to a place where it's just double odds. So, Mike, you don't have to. You don't have to bet 10 times odds.
But you feel like it. You know what it is?
I know
how they feel like, for instance, if they put 10 on the line and they don't take any odds, when the 5 comes up, they win $10.
Yes,
they put $10 up there, they win 14.
Yeah.
Right. And so they say, well, I got to have some odds to make this pay. And now they've got $20 on 5 versus 10 if they were just up there.
Sure. And everybody keeps hearing, odds, they're the best bet at the table.
Right.
And whereas that's true, it's not guaranteed it's going to win, and it really increases your variance and maybe your bankroll can't handle it.
Well, that's the thing. It's the variance. And we used to tell people this all the time when we dealt. We would explain odds, and we start off by saying, this is the true odds of this number coming up. So on a 5, it's going to pay 3 for every 2. And then people would look at us like, oh, that's great. But then you have to tell them, look, that doesn't mean it's going to win.
That's right.
It just means when you do win, you get paid what you deserve.
Yeah. Right.
The house has no edge on that bet.
Yeah.
In the long run, you play forever, it's a break-even bet.
Yep.
So it's a fine point. But to answer his question is, if you don't have a line bet, place it.
Yeah. This is a discussion that I'm sure we'll have many times on future episodes. It's certainly something that people like talking about, and it's always sort of an us versus them, come bets versus place bets. And people will always have the question. And
the come better's thinking, that idiot putting all of his money out there, and then 7 comes up immediately and they lose it all. And the place better's thinking, that idiot, he's got to hit that twice. I'm getting paid right now.
That's right. And look how many odds he took on that. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Right.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Hope things are going well. We had to Vegas. We went to Bally's, and it was a pretty busy night, and they didn't seem to have a boxman between a couple craps tables. I guess the pit boss, was sort of floating between them. Didn't really provide for a good overall experience, and I wanted to see if you guys ever saw that or dealt with that. It's not, something that you'd expect in Vegas. I know it was a weeknight, but still, some might expect on a smaller casino or something like that. Overall, I really didn't like it. The dealers were nice, but it just some slight mistakes, and just the organization, I think, wasn't as good as it could have been. So hopefully that's not a continuation thing and just sort of a one-off, but if you guys ever saw anything like that, just let me know. Thanks again.
No, Boxmen have been disappearing from the craps table. This has been going on for a while. No, I don't like it either. You
know what I don't like? First of all, you don't get a good rating when they've just got a pit guy floating between 3 tables. Mm-hmm. There's no way he can watch what you bet, right? Because he's over there talking to some guy. He has no idea what's going on in yours. And they come back and the dealer's like, they say, how much did that guy bet? I don't know. You don't get accurate ratings. That's why our ratings vary so ridiculous. When there was a boxman sitting there, he could actually input into the computer terminal right at the table what people were betting.
And Mike, I don't have any figures to back this up, but I would guess, one of the reasons they've gotten rid of the boxman is just so they don't have to pay somebody, right? But I would guess that the number of mistakes that a box person would see and find that dealers are making would more than make up for the salary.
I'd say triple.
Yeah.
Honestly, they make so many mistakes now. You and I have seen so many mistakes in the last 2 or 3 years. And remember 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we didn't see very many mistakes.
No, that's true.
Because the boxman always
you would
caught
catch
it.
that. Oh, you got to. Oh, there's it's wrong there. He pointed out. Oh, you got the odds wrong. Yeah. So
especially when I'm betting a lot, the boxman was always watching because they don't want to screw up on a $500 payout or something. So they were always watching. Now it's like, oh my God, and things happen where they don't pick up line bets after a 7 out.
Sure, just stuff like that. Yeah,
they don't pick up combats. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff because the dealers are busy and they're doing a lot. And without a boxman there to say, hey, you missed that or something. Plus, I think honestly, if nobody's watching, people get lazy.
That's
like
true
in any
too,
job, right?
Yeah.
And they just get a little lazy, a little lackadaisical, and they're just going through the motions, and that's when mistakes happen. That's why I don't understand why casinos, I'd pay a boxman.
Yeah. But it is a trend.
Yes.
And we certainly see it.
Oh,
It's almost unusual now for us to see a boxman, a dedicated boxman, somebody who's sitting there the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you see Caesar's Palace and there's one guy running between three tables, it's like, and sometimes you buy in and, they give you your money and they take your card and they set it on the table and it's like 5 rolls later or 3 shooters later before the guy come. Now, who is this? Who bought in? What'd they buy in? Drives me crazy.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Robert.
Hey, guys. Robert from Tennessee. I recently took a trip to California. We stayed a week in LA. We decided to head over to Morongo Casino. We're craps players, so it was unfortunate that we found out when we got there that they haven't offered craps in, I think they said 7 years. But then we decided to go to San Manuel Casino, got there, and we played some craps, and it was the first time we've ever played card craps. But we very much enjoyed the card craps. It wasn't as bad as I expected. I was very nervous about attempting it. We stayed there maybe 3 or 4 hours, had a good night, ended up losing, of course. And on our way out, we stopped at the comp station, decided, we'll never be back here, so let's see what kind of comps we have. Luckily, we all got free spins, and everyone won $20 of free play. So my new fiance, we'd recently got engaged on the trip, actually, so very good trip. She hit the slot and actually won all of our money back, around $300, $400, and my friend, he actually won his money back. So it ended up being a fantastic trip. Love California. Wish we could have went south to your part of the state, but it was a good time, and if anyone's ever in Tennessee, Cherokee is by far the best casino in the area. I would steer clear of Rivers and Murphy. They only have maybe one craps table, and the minimums are always outrageous, $15, $25. And the staff there, in my opinion, is not very nice. So appreciate it. Love it listening to you guys. Thank you.
Yep, always good advice, especially at a place you've never played before. Certainly get the player's card as soon as you go in, and when you're about to leave, swipe that card in one of those kiosks. Maybe you'll get $200 worth of AA batteries like I did at resorts in Atlantic City. So that's always good advice.
I meant to ask you, by the way, just real quickly, did your son get players cards in all the different casinos?
We only played at Caesar's properties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, really, we did, it was just basically Bally's and the link.
So did you check his points at the end?
I haven't even looked. Yeah, here I am saying to do this, but
I'd just be curious to see what he got.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, see what his rating was. It turns out he's like diamond.
Yeah, it's already.
What?
Right.
He's getting up while you're sleeping.
That's right. So anyway, congratulations, Robert, too, on the engagement. All right, next call.
Hey, guys. My name is Mark. I just started catching your podcast a little bit. Really enjoy it. I'm out more in the Midwest area, kind of with Chicagoland. I played Blackjack mostly. What I was wondering, do you guys have a good resource as far as ace tracking? I don't do anything really as far as counting, maybe just a little bit, just watching more for the little cards. Anyway, I wanted to learn a little bit more about that. I can usually have a decent idea about them, but lately it seems like when I know they're coming, it ends up on the other side of the table of Blackjack. Anyway, I was wondering if there's anything, resource you guys have for that. Get a little better at it. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll be listening. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, so ace tracking, or ace sequencing, as it's called, is a way of predicting when an ace is about to be dealt in blackjack. The concept is that you keep track of cards that go on top of aces in the discard tray. right? Like 1, 2, however many cards. You keep track of the cards that go on top of the aces. We call those key cards. And then after a shuffle, if you see these key cards come out, especially, kind of in the order that you expect, you make a large bet in anticipation of an ace being dealt to you. Right. And of course, ace is very powerful as a player, right? In fact, when you know that you're going to have an ace as your first card dealt, your advantage over the house goes to like 50%, right? It's huge because, you've got a good chance of getting a blackjack, of course, right? So now, of course, the accuracy of the ace sequencing is going to depend on how good or how bad, that's really the important thing, the shuffle is. Right. So,
and a hand shuffle is going to be worse than an automatic shuffle
typically,
machine.
that is going to be the case, right? So depending on how good or bad the dealer is at shuffling, some tables will be better or worse than others. Boy, as far as a resource for this goes, I don't know. I'd have to just kind of fall back on the typical answers. Check out Blackjack forums online. I think there's a Blackjack Discord channel, but otherwise I don't know of any good books or anything like that. I think the internet is going to be your best friend. And Mark, I think you said in the call too that when you're trying to keep track, you're seeing the aces come out, but they're being dealt to, the players on the other end of the table. Well, maybe you're doing pretty well. I mean, that's going to happen, right? You're not going to know for sure that an ace is going to be dealt to you. So, maybe you're getting good at it.
If you knew an ace is coming out at that particular deal, whether it's you or somebody else, I mean, at least you're on the right path, right?
Yeah. So good luck. All right. Next up is Steve.
Hi, this is Steve from Virginia. I just wanted to give a quick update. I took a trip to Cherokee down in North Carolina and had my tail handed to me in craps. I lost pretty close to $1,000, decided I was going to walk away. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I went over to see if my next day's free play had hit. It had. So I got my free play, went to the machine, hit a small bonus. It was a $20 free slot play that ended up turning into $100. So I cashed that out, and I was walking over to the food court and happened to see a Return of the Planet Moolah Invaders type slot machine game. Took that 100, stuck it into it. 3 spins in, I hit a bonus on an accidental max bet. I hit the max bet on the spin when I was trying to hit the actual spin button. It went into a bonus and gave me 400 free spins. This is one of those machines that allows you to re-trigger extra free spins in the bonus. I ended up with 496 free spins at a max bet with a hand pay of $5,080 on a oopsie. I was just curious, what's been y'all's biggest oopsie, and how well did you profit from it? Anyway, enjoy the podcast. Keep it up.
I've done that before, but it seems like every time I accidentally hit max bet, nothing happens, right? Nothing comes up. I can't think of it ever helping me.
Usually it's me going too fast and deleting the 2 pair that I had.
Oh, yeah, that's something like that, too. Right, on video poker.
Like, oh, nothing here, and delete it. It's like, wait a minute, I think I had 2 pair.
Can you think of a case, though, where you made a mistake in your betting somehow, machine, table game, whatever, and it helped you?
No.
I can't think of either. Yeah, I remember going with my dad once to a casino, and he doesn't, play very much at all. And it was a newfangled machine at the time, and he did it by accident. I was like, no, Dad, he hit max bet or whatever it was, and, ended up betting way more than he intended and lost. So,
yeah,
that's
I
usually
remember,
what happens to me too.
Thinking, oh, I'm down so much, I'll just bet max. And, working out sometimes.
Well, yeah, but that's intentional, right?
But that was intentional, yeah. It wasn't like I didn't plan that.
A good story, though. Worked out great for Steve.
From now on, Steve's got to just, during his session, somehow just accidentally hit max bet.
Yeah, he has to accidentally do it at some point. Make sure the machine doesn't know you're doing it on purpose.
Right. Turn around and look at something, and then just let your hand wander over.
Oh, shoot, what did I do?
Gosh, act confused. So you can never duplicate that.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Right.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, what's going on? I had a question about comps and how they give you free rooms. I'm a low-level player. I only have 1,700 tier credits so far this year. I probably go Cherokee once a month. And I got an offer in my email for 2 free nights and $20 of free play at the Flamingo. So I'm going to head out October 6th, 7th, and 8th. And when I called to make the reservation, I was like, hey, is there any way to get another comp night? And the girl on the phone gladly said, yes, without a problem. So just curious, at my level, is that something they normally do, or Vegas slow that time of year, or maybe because it's the Flamingo, they're desperate for people? I don't know. But curious what you guys think. This is Mike from Charlotte, North Carolina. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Caesars Entertainment has always had a reputation for making it easy to get free rooms. So they're really good about comping rooms. And certainly if it's a lower end property like Flamingo, that's not too surprising. So, we'll see once El Dorado kind of takes over, maybe that will change. But certainly in the case of Caesars, it's not unusual to, we'll add on an extra night for you. Maybe they won't pick up the resort fee or something, but they're very willing to comp rooms.
And, the nice thing is even if they don't, they'll always say something like, well, we'll give you a room for one night and we'll comp your second night if your play's good. And if it's not, then, you got to pay, but they'll always comp you one night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to their benefit,
sure,
right?
They want you. Yeah, exactly.
They want you in their casino.
Yep. All right. An international report from Karsten.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Karsten calling from New York City. Just wanted to leave a trip report from my most recent trip. Actually made a trip down to Zimbabwe, of all places, a family trip down there. And while traveling is one of my favorite things to do, gambling while traveling is probably even more of a favorite. So just wanted to tell you about Makasa Sun Casino in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Played blackjack there. It's a very small casino, a number of slots that are about, I would say, dating back to the late 1980s. So it's a very old-style casino. Not like anything you'd be expecting to see in Las Vegas. There were about 3 tables, 2 of which were open after 5 o'clock p.m., 1 blackjack, 1 roulette. I was only one of 2 players in there. Pretty funny, actually. Again, very unexpected compared to what you'd see other places. They had 4-deck shoe, and 2 of the decks had red backs and 2 of the decks had blue. So if there's anybody out there looking for an advantage play, that might be a place to go. Mind you, the maximum bet is $50, minimum being $10. So not sure it'd be that easy to take advantage of. Also, the cards looked like they were about a month old. Some of them were bent. So again, if you're interested in looking at a marked card or something like that, quite funny to see that. I played for about 15 minutes, went through 2 shoes, and came out a little bit ahead, so that was pretty fun. I like to take a chip as a souvenir, which I did. Funny enough, this chip was actually a chip from another casino that they had painted over the middle to hide that it was an old casino that they were associated with. So, again, another peculiarity of this casino. Just a fun experience overall. So if you're ever in Zimbabwe, perhaps, you can visit the Makasa Sun Casino at the Kingdom Hotel there in Victoria Falls. Another fun story to say is that on that same day, I actually got engaged. So that made the day much more memorable than my gambling at the Makasa Sun. So love the show, guys. I've been listening for about a month now, gone through a number of the episodes, and really appreciate the content that you guys put out each week. So look forward to the next one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, well, congratulations. Everybody's getting married, engaged, or honeymoons.
Getting married while they're gambling?
Boy, it sounds like this casino's being held together with duct tape. Right?
Well, it's Zimbabwe.
Oh, my gosh. But seriously, a 4-deck shoe and half the cards are red and half are blue, and they're old?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
gosh.
The funny thing, I don't mind so much red and blue, but that they're bent.
Oh, yeah,
and stuff.
bent. Oh, I mean,
so
gosh.
you could see what's coming.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So APs, head down to Zimbabwe while you can.
Actually, I like the Makasa Sun Casino in Victoria Falls. That sounds cool. You know? I mean, I just think of, like Humphrey Bogart playing, baccarat in Zimbabwe.
Okay. I don't think that happened in any particular movie, but you've combined
I combined some movies together.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good.
And how do you spell Zimbabwe?
All right. It's Zimbabwe.
Yeah, but it's pronounced Zimbabwe.
Yeah, Zimbabwe. Here, now I'm going to look at it. Yeah, it's Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, I guess. I mean, Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. If you're talking about pronunciation, we got another call coming up right here. You ready to hear from Jeff?
All right.
All right, here we go.
Is he going to correct my grammar on something?
I'll probably correct you on something before the day's
that'll
out.
happen.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jeff calling from Round Rock, Texas, just outside of Austin. I'm a big fan of the show. Been listening for a while now. Really enjoy what y'all do and the fun way you bring us listeners some stories and good information. Just a quick trip report. Recently took a little work trip up near Portland. Took a couple hours to stop into the Ilani Casino, which is just over the river in Washington. From the outside, it's not a lot to look at, kind of shopping mall look, but I gotta say, once I got inside, I was impressed. Has a very bright, modern feel with a large selection of slots and table games for everybody. Started on a $5 craps table. It was busy, but not full. 3, 4, 5 odds. However, they do not offer anything like a fire bet or all tall, all small option. The dealers were real friendly and engaging and seemed to really appreciate when I would make a pass line or two-way hardway bet for them, and they made a few bucks, which is good. Then sat down for about an hour on a $10 pie gow table and eventually cashed out, even for the trip. They do offer booze here, but it's not free. I had a $6 beer, which really isn't that bad. Overall, fun little short trip to see a new place, get a chip for the collection, and quench my gambling thirst for a little bit at least. I heard in the last show you guys mentioned a possible September trip to Vegas. Me and a large group of friends make a big trip once a year or so. And this year we are planning on being there September 21st to the 24th for a lot of gambling, sports betting, and all that fun stuff. If y'all do happen to be around those dates, it would be great to stop by and say hi. Also, just a quick shout out to my amigos Chris and Issa, who will be part of our group and are also fellow listeners of the show. Again, love the show. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
Yeah, so previously we had a caller call in and tell us about the pronunciation of this casino that Jeff went to. So the spelling is Ilani, but it's pronounced Ilani. Ilani, not like Ilani or Ilani. It's Ilani, even though there are eyes there.
It looks like Ilani.
Mm-hmm, yes, exactly. Yeah. So,
well, they should phonetically spell that out on their sign.
Well, maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe it is underneath it. All right. So September trip. Do you have any details for us?
No.
Okay. So you have no plans right now.
No plans right now. Maybe on the next podcast. We're definitely going in October, 11, 12, 13. Definitely going the first weekend in December.
Oh, okay. You're going for the Great Gift Wrap-Up?
The Great Gift Wrap-Up. Okay. I'll definitely be there.
I probably will not be for that. I'll be with you in October, of course.
Those two are for us, sure.
Okay.
And I was hoping to go sometime maybe mid to late September.
Okay.
Because I have some money coming my way in the form of a Visa card. So
let us know
enticing.
Let us know on the next episode. Although the next episode is going to be about halfway through September, so let us. I can always tweet about it. When will the next
episode be?
Well, this one's coming out August 29th, so it'll be 2 weeks into September.
Close to September. Yeah. I'll let. Well, you'll definitely know.
Yeah. So I'll let people know. Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Grant from the Philadelphia area. This is my first time calling, and I just recently discovered your podcast through my uncle, who is also a craps lover. Decided to go to my local Harris, Philadelphia, to try my luck and play some craps. Pretty cold table, lost almost all my money, was down to my last 15. I had 10 on the pass line, and the shooter shot a 6, so I threw 5 on the hard 6. And what do you know, the next roll, the shooter shot the hard 6, and the dealer pays me out $135 for my $5 hard 6. So I picked up my money and went to the cashier and got out of there. I was ended up around $250 on the night, which is a decent amount for a college kid. And I was just wondering if you guys have ever had a dealer pay you that much. I've had blackjack table dealers accidentally pay me twice, but I've never gotten paid close to $100 more than what I should. And that dealer I've seen there before, he's been there for a pretty long time. So I hope they don't get in trouble for that if they do get caught. But yeah, guys, I really enjoy your podcast. Thanks. Have a good one.
Yeah, we've gotten overpaid on bets before. It sounds like in this case, if it was $135, that's what a $15 hardway would pay. Right. 150 minus the 15 that stays out there, so 135. So either...
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if he got confused like a $25 chip with a $100 chip. But I couldn't come up with any way that would work.
I think the dealer thought it was $15. Or Grant, maybe you had $15 in the hard way, you didn't know it. But sure, mistakes like... Now, if there was a boxman on the table, well, that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Say, hey, you overpaid that.
Well, there's a lot of ways that could happen. That could happen just by somebody having, a brain fart and paying too much. Mm-hmm. It could happen by somebody's $10 hard way got pushed onto yours.
Exactly, right. The dice hit or something, sure.
It's like, he's got 15.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But... we've had that happen.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
it keeps happening. Keep listening to our episodes. You'll hear some examples.
Quite a few times.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Charles from Wisconsin. And I had a crazy afternoon practicing video poker for my upcoming Vegas trip. Within the course of about 12 minutes, I hit 3 separate royal flushes, which probably means that I'm not going to hit 2 pair while I'm there. But what are the odds of doing something as crazy as hitting 3 royal flushes in the course of under 15 minutes? It's got to be astronomical. Thanks for answering my question, because I am just like, what on earth just happened? Love the podcast. Bye.
When I saw this, on your notes, it says Charles hitting 3 royals in 12 minutes. Yeah. I'm like, what the, because I'm thinking it's on a machine.
Right.
And then when he says it's, and it's some app.
Just software, just practicing.
Software, I was actually relieved.
I know. It's like, now you don't have to get angry.
I know. Every bit of my intestine was puckering up. Right? Every single small, large intestine, they were all condensing into a small cube. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God.
All right. Well, anytime you say, what are the odds of something happening, you need very specific numbers. So let's see if we can kind of crunch some numbers here based on what Charles said.
I'm sure you can. You love these calls. You probably sat at your desk and figured it all out.
Let's talk about some of these numbers. All right. You're going to hit a royal flush in a 1 out of approximately 40,390 hands. Okay. That's the odds of just hitting a royal flush.
I'm beating the odds significantly.
Yeah, I might be too. All right. So assuming you're playing a hand every 3 seconds, and it could be more, could be less. I don't know. If you're on your phone, it might be faster than that, but we'll just use 3 seconds. That means in 12 minutes, you'll play 240 hands. All right. Now, without going into any additional math, because it does get a little complicated, the chances of hitting exactly 3 royals within those 12 minutes is around 1 in 29,129,540. And now that's assuming that your practice software is randomizing the same way a real video poker machine does. Right. So I don't know what kind of software. That's
assuming a lot.
That's true. I mean, maybe the software is set up to give you a royal, one every 2,000 hands or something. I don't know. But so again, 1 in under just 30 million. So
now, if I was writing software for an app that you could practice video poker on, honestly, every once in a while, I just have royals come up just to make people happy. And, randomly, you could hit 4 in a row. Oh, no, I was dealt a royal. Oh, I'm dealt another royal. I would just do that on purpose. That would be the little devil inside me.
All right, so that's the Dr. Mike software. If I were writing the software, I would deal the player borderline hands that they need to practice a lot to know what to do.
Right.
Oh, do I keep the 4 to the straight, or do I keep the 3 high cards, things like that.
Yeah.
I would overemphasize those hard to play hands, because you get a pair of 3s with no straight or flush possibility. That's pretty easy. You keep the pair of 3s, right? But I'd put tough hands.
You'd put a pair of 8s on either end, and the middle 3 cards are 3 to a flush lined up, like
a straight flush,
5,
right?
6, 7.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
That's not a good example. Maybe like a king, queen, jack, and then 2 8s on the end.
Right, something.
That'd
like
be
that.
the one where somebody's thinking, well, do I keep the king, queen, jack, and go for the royal, or do I keep the 2 8s?
Yeah, right.
What makes more sense?
Right. Although, I mean, in that case,
maybe
you clearly go for the royal.
Right. Well,
but I know what you're getting at.
Yeah. What if it was king, queen, 10 of hearts?
You still go for the royal.
You still go for
anytime. Yeah, pretty. If you're talking about a jacks or better type of machine, if you have 3 to the royal, chances are you're going to keep those.
Okay, so what if it's a straight? What if you have 8, 8, and you have 2, 3, 4 spades in the middle?
Yeah, see, that would be something that would be a good.
Dilemma,
that
right?
was. So those were the kind of hands that I'd put up there. Right. Exactly.
And the answer would be keep the 8s.
Yes, I think so.
You had a better chance of hitting 3 of a kind.
I think in that case, 2, 3, 4 suited versus the 8s. Yeah, I think it's keep the 8s.
Keep the 8s.
I'll check afterwards, and if I'm wrong, I'll just edit this out.
Okay, but see, that would be the thing that people need to practice.
That's the software I would use.
Yeah, so you'd want to teach them, and I'd want to inspire them.
Inspire them to lose their money.
Yeah, I'm going to sit there for 100 hours because those royals are coming, baby.
All right, next up is Matt. The audio gets a little bad there. I think he was maybe walking. The wind was hitting his microphone or something like that, but I think he'll be able to pick it out.
Hi, Mark and Mike. New listener here. This is Matt in Northwest Pennsylvania. Not a lot of casino play around here, pretty much just Presque Isle Downs and Erie. But I have a question that one of my buddies told me about bonus play and slot play that I wanted to see if you guys had any input on. He swears that the free play for the slots is calculated based on whatever your first slot action is when you enter the casino. So him and his wife start out by going like $5 or $10 slots, play a little bit, and then they go down to the nickels and pennies or penny slots, and they get way more slot bonus play than I do, where I pretty much would just stay at the nickel slot range. So I was wondering if there's any truth to that. It is a Churchill Downs property, formerly El Dorado, and didn't know if you have any input about the bonus systems there. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy the podcast.
So the short answer would be no. The free play that they're getting is not based on the very first slot machine that they play at.
I wouldn't think that'd be true.
Now, they may be getting more free play than you because at least they are playing at some of the high limit slots, and it sounds like you're not. So, I mean, just the fact that they're playing at all there might be. Also, how long do they play on those higher limit slots? And are they putting their card in on all the machines or only the high limit slots? And not the low limit slots. How much play do they put in? But to just answer your question, no, it wouldn't be based on what they're first playing on slots. Now, table games, that's a different matter, because that, other than some tables that now have these RFID chips in, the actual chips, where they know how much you're betting every hand, if it's just a pit boss, entering your data in, then it might make a difference if you're making a big bet right away.
Yeah,
because that's what they see, initially. Yeah,
they usually see your buy-in, then they see your first few bets, and this guy's a quarter player, and he's betting $75 every hand. And then they walk away. Yeah, that's what I was getting at
that's
before.
What you're saying,
and they walk away, and then the guy goes down, now he's betting $10 on the $10 limit. Yeah. He's not betting the 75 or 25, but it stays in the computer until somebody actually changes that.
That's right, yeah.
So, table games, totally different. I always tell Mark, make your first craps, your line bet more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
and if we ever get on a hot roll and I start pressing, I call attention to it. I say, I call the pit over. We know them all. So,
we joke about it, but we're serious.
Yeah, we are.
Like,
hey, look at what I'm betting now on the 4.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, guys. This is Alex from Maryland. Just a quick question and then a quick story. Obviously, when you have a come bet with odds and the player hits a point and then has a come out roll and rolls a 7, your come bet is going to lose and your odds are going to push. I find this to be the bet that the dealers miss the most often. And so my question is, should you tell the dealer? Is it in your benefit or is it not? I know on one hand it's a negative EV game, and so picking up your odds and getting those back is going to be good for you, but you're also losing that come bet. So should you tell them or should you not? Forgetting about the fact that maybe 3-4 rolls later they might notice their mistake. But at least in the moment, is it something that you would point out, or would you just let your bet sit there and see what happens? My quick story is this. I always think it's silly when the dice goes off the table, they hand it back to the pit boss who carefully examines it. They kind of look a little bit goofy. But for the first time, I actually saw the pit boss take the dice out of service because it, had gotten a little bit of a chip from falling off the table and hitting a chair. And so she called over all sorts of people who needed to approve it before they could take the dice out of service. But I will just note that she did let the shooter finish his roll with that set of dice, and the very next roll, 7 out. All right, guys, take care.
I'm trying to think, Mike, have you ever been at a table where they have removed a single die from play?
No. And you know why they won't do that? Because the die have a number on it.
Yeah.
So there's 5 dice out there, and they're like number 512.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they took one die out, then there'd only be 4 to choose from, let's say. And they couldn't put another one in because it'd have a different number.
Okay, so you'd say they'd have to replace all 5?
They either have to replace all 5, or not replace any.
But clearly, if there's, in this case, where the die actually has a chip in it,
right,
they're going to replace them
then,
all. But
then what she should do is go over, get a new, they come in sets of 5, get a new set of 5, take those out, retire them, put the new ones in, and tell every dealer, okay, the new number on the die is blah, blah, blah.
I just have never seen that happen before. In other words, I've never seen a die that was damaged in some way by going off the table, or like a loaded die that was introduced to the game or something like that. I've just personally never witnessed a pit boss or a boxman or anyone saying, no, this
I've never
die
seen
cannot come back
anyone
into the
take
game.
anyone off,
Yeah.
but I know that the die have a number, and the dealers have to know that number. So when the dice go off and someone hands it to it, they look at the
That's one of the
number
first
to
thing
make
they
sure
do.
that's the first thing they do, right? We'll have to ask one of our dealer friends at Harris, Southern California, if they've ever seen it. Because they've even though we play a ton, if you've worked for so many years, you may have seen that.
Yeah, I will try to check. Now, as far as come bets go, you're absolutely right. Dealers failing to take away losing come bets because of 7s on the come out roll. Easily the most common mistake that you'll see dealers make at the craps table.
Yeah.
Now, should you call attention to it? Absolutely not. If you're just talking about what's good for you financially, if you've got a moral reason and you want to tell them, okay, that's fine. But no, you should not tell them, because here's the thing. Again, your odds don't matter. The casino doesn't have an edge. You don't have an edge. It doesn't matter. But that base come bet is getting another chance at life.
Right.
You should have lost on that. And now you still have the potential to win.
Right.
It's going to depend on what the number is, what the odds are going to be of you winning, but it's got a second life and it can stay out there. Now, you may, roll your eyes when you don't call attention to it, and then, once the shooter establishes a new point and then just 7's out, right then you lose all those bets where you would have gotten your odds back. That happens. But no, don't call attention to it.
But if you don't call attention to it and the next roll it comes out on a 9 and the next roll's a 6 and you win your 6 bet with your odds, then you look like a genius and you come down, right?
Right, yeah. So that you're giving that base come bet another chance at life. Yes.
What happens is, some guys got, especially at a place like Harris, Southern California, there's not too many come bettors.
Yes, right.
And there's more place bettors, so they tend to forget about the come bettors. And then there's some idiot who's got like a $90 three-way 7 on the come out and $126 in action on the horn bet. And
the dealers are so fixated on that idiot.
They're fixated on, what's that idiot going to pay and how much do I have to subtract that they completely forget about.
The come better just sits there meekly, just
right.
I hope
pretends like he has to go to the bathroom.
Oh, I hope they stay up. Oh. All right. Rob's got a question for us.
Hey, guys. This is Rob from New Jersey. I called beginning of July. When I heard myself on the podcast, I made my wife listen to it, and she teased me how you guys talk more about how she likes hardwood floors in the hotel room than my story about gambling. So that was fun. Quick story. The second time I went and played craps, I was with my brother. I bet the pass. It was my turn to shoot the dice. I saw that my brother bet the don't, and I told him, you're betting against me. And this is in front of the whole table. My brother goes, yeah, but 7's most likely number to come up, and we're just not knowing the etiquette. We're just having this little argument. So I told my brother, you bet the pass. I'm not going to have my own brother bet against me. So he reluctantly did so. I quickly 0.7'd out. My brother got mad. He's like, you cost me $10. I was like, yeah, but you kept your brother. And then it was like a few seconds of silence. He went, I'd rather have the $10. So I don't know if that ever happened to you guys. You guys only bet against each other, don't pass, etc., and how that worked out. Anyway, guys, love the podcast. I was doing about the trip before. Bye.
Yeah, basically the only time we're betting the opposite is a craps table. It's me who's doing the don't.
Right.
And I'm usually doing it out of frustration, like, Mike, I'm sorry, I'm just losing so much. I got to do something. I'm switching to the don't. And we never really take it personally.
No.
Yeah, we never, cheer. In fact, when the other one loses, we kind of feel bad. It's like, okay, we won. Oh, yeah, sorry. The only time we really tease each other is when I have a come bet and 11 is rolled, and I'm the only one who won. I will pick up my winnings and hold it in front of Mike's face and go, "Ooh!"
And I'm thinking, wasted roll. Completely wasted roll. I got nothing out of that roll. Well, Rob's going to love this.
Huh?
Because my wife and I and our children went up to LA on my daughter's birthday. We went to Universal Studios.
Okay.
And my brother just happens to live like less than a mile from Universal
Right.
Studios, his house. We stayed overnight and we went to breakfast with him, dinner that night and breakfast the next morning. Anyway, we stayed at a hotel down the street from his house.
Okay, sure.
I mean, like a half mile down the street. And we walk in, and the first thing, the girls were all excited, hardwood floors.
At the hotel?
Oh, Dad, look, it's your dream. Yep, hardwood floors in the hotel. It was a brand new place. It's in a residential area, kind of mixed area, but it had been like houses or something. They tore it down, they put up this hotel. Hardwood floors. So my brother and hardwood floors tie into Rob's brother story.
Oh my gosh, it could have been you calling in, Dr. Mike.
Right. Maybe it was.
All right, last call.
Hi, guys. This is Jess from Northern California calling with a little trip report. I was recently in Michigan visiting a friend, and she said, hey, I've always wanted to learn craps. So, of course, I had to oblige, and we headed out to Firekeepers Casino in Battle Creek, Michigan. Decent casino. We had a very nice dinner. They had 3 craps tables, only one open on a Saturday night. It was pretty full, but we were able to squeeze our way in. The craps went okay. I usually just play with $200 and see how long I can make it last. And after about 4.5, 5 hours, my friend was ready to go, and I was down 100. So I count that as a pretty nice investment in my own entertainment. The things to note were that the dealers were really not friendly at all. And I started out the gate tipping. They, were thankful at first, and then as the night wore on, they stopped saying thank you for the tips. I threw a 5 in at one point and said, do whatever you want with it. You want to spread it out, play it, bank it, whatever. And they're like, yep, we're going to bank it. Okay. That was one of the first times I've ever seen that. I think maybe that nobody else was tipping at the table. Later on, when my friend was shooting, I wanted to play all the hards 3 ways just to kind of surprise her, just in case. And the stick man had no idea what I was saying when I said 3 ways on all the hards, and I gave him 15. They gave me $1 back, and I was like, we need to talk about this again. It's $3 on each of the hards, 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for the shooter. They're like, oh, okay. Just very curious. Have you guys come across that where you think you're using some pretty standard terminology and they have no idea what you mean? Well, even though they weren't friendly, it was still a good time. I always enjoy going out and playing craps. Thanks for the podcast. Really love listening to it. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, it's too bad about the unfriendly dealers.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
As much as we say tip the dealers, a dealer should say thank you every single time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
every
that's
single
true.
time. When you make a fire bet for them and something, I mean, it's to their benefit to say thank you. My parents taught me when I was a little kid, if you're polite, people will be polite back to you.
Yeah. Maybe they miss a thank you every once in a while, but if they actually stop, they get to the point where they're not doing it anymore, you just stop tipping. That's
they're hurting themselves.
Yeah,
it's weird.
As far as the terminology goes, we've definitely been to some casinos where we will say something that we typically say at Harrah's Southern California, and they won't know what we're talking about. A good example, Mike, is turning red.
Right.
At Harrah's, if you say turning red, that means you want a hot bet on the 7.
Right.
And it's really clear. But it comes out of your mouth, you don't even think about it. We've been to other casinos, you'll say it, they don't know what you want.
Yeah, they're like, what?
Also, 3-way, there's so many ways that 3-way can be interpreted. Right? 3-way, like you could say a 3-way 7. Well, that's 3 separate bets. Or a 3-way hop on the 6. Again, that's 3 hop bets, not for you and the dealer. That's 3 different bets hopping on the 6. Does 3-way mean you've done like a 3-way, 2-way bet, which is.
Yeah, right. I do 3-way, 2-way, 5, like me, you, the shooter, all of us on the 5.
Yeah. But that typically would be the case, right? If you said, give me a 3-way hard 6, I would take that to mean, me, the shooter, and the dealers.
Right, exactly.
But they'd probably ask for clarification, unless you started doing it regularly.
Well, they should ask for clarification too. Because
Just in case,
how I'll be. You may not be shooting, but I say, give me a 3-way hard 8, me, Mark, and you.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That happens a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
And they kind of know out there because they know us. But if you said that to a casino that didn't know you. They wouldn't know who you wanted to bet for.
Yeah. But anyway, too bad they weren't friendlier at least. So
she hung in there and played. Yeah. And the best point she made is that, she was playing craps.
Yeah, there you go.
She's pretty happy about that.
There are worse things you could be doing with your life.
Right.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donations from Brian and Sarah, and from Josh. Thanks very much for those recurring donations. Also, a donation from Charles, a very small karma donation to say thanks for all the fun. Mark must put this on a hardways or fire bet as a condition of the donation.
I'm going to make sure you stick to that.
Remind me of that. Okay,
You've got to do that.
Okay, remind me. Also, a donation from Richard from London. This isn't a karma donation for a trip coming up in September. It's just a thank you for the hours of entertainment. Or you can make it a karma donation if you want. So
well, how about
much,
this?
Richard.
It's not a karma donation, but we still wish Richard the best of luck.
Yes.
And we send him whatever luck we have.
Okay.
Which is...
karma?
Yeah, some karma, I guess.
Okay. Also a donation from Eamon. Karma donation for a September 6th trip. Please don't let Dr. Mike put this on the hard ways. Thanks. Okay.
Oh,
so I'm going to keep track of that.
You keep track of that. But Charles and Eamon, they probably brothers.
Also, from our buddy Dr. Taylor, staying at Palms for the Labor Day weekend. We're not going to the summit. Oh, we're not going to see him at the summit. So this is the last chance Tara can hit a royal flush this year. All right. Good luck, Tara.
What about December?
Good luck, Taylor.
What about the summit's in October? What about November and December?
Yeah, Taylor must have some great gift wrap-up points that he needs to cash in.
Taylor, I'm surprised. And no summit, that really surprises me.
They have plans maybe, apparently.
Evidently. Yeah. I mean, it must be important. I hope it's important plans. You know, what was the theme of this show? People getting married.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
there was a lot of people getting married.
A lot of people getting married. That's right. And finally, a donation from John from Dublin, Ireland. Donation for all the super content over the years, most of which I have listened to over 3 times. Oh, John, thank you. Sorry and thank you. You are both great, and I am listening to my favorite episodes again in preparation for my next Vegas trip on September 5th. Good. So it sounds like a lot of people taking some trips to Vegas here within the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
I wished I could say I'd be there September 5th, but that's not happening.
Can't do it. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. What you got, Dr. Mike?
Well, you know, Mark, it's football season.
Yeah, it basically is now. College has started for sure.
College has started for sure, and NFL is going to start soon. This is our time of the year. Mm-hmm. It's the end of the year. It's, craps as usual. It's football season. Basketball and hockey are like right there. You know what we need to do?
No.
And I was thinking about this. We need to have an episode where, it's a little late for this year, but maybe next year, we have an episode prior to the start of football season where we go over all, or at least what we consider all the possible football pools you can do.
Oh, okay. Different types of pools.
Different types of pools so that because everyone should be in a football pool.
Yeah. That's a very good idea. I'll put a note, Mike, to remind us next year. Maybe we'll do it over the course of several episodes.
Yeah.
Like the 6 episodes leading up to football season, we talk about a different kind of football pool.
Of football pool.
Okay, that sounds
good. And
good.
explain how it's run and everything, because some of them are pretty easy to run.
Sure.
Some are very complicated. The college football pool I'm in, the guy who runs it, he does a ton of work.
Yeah, it's maybe overly complicated, but I know what you mean.
It's overly complicated, and he does a lot of work, but it's challenging. So if you're into college football, it's great, but it's a ton of work for him. Not so much for us people who are in it, but he has to coordinate a lot of different things. But there are some that are very simple.
Sure.
That anyone could do
very
with
easy,
10 of their friends or, 5 of their friends. And it makes football so much more fun.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I love football anyway, But having a pool, you know me, I've got like a spreadsheet.
I know.
I mean, Mark faxes me these spreadsheets.
I know. Once
every
again,
day.
I'm sitting here and, we're listening to phone calls and I'm thinking, Mike, are you paying attention or are you looking at the baseball scores?
I'm looking at the scores and I'm filling in the spreadsheet. But I love doing that. I don't know what it is about that. I love having a sheet
All right,
with all these things on it.
I will make a note. I'll actually put it on my phone so it reminds me next year, and we'll start doing that as a week or every episode.
A good thing for people.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
And if anyone wants something now, they can email us. We can email them back, or Mark will email you back. A particular kind of football.
Oh, if you got a question about a pool,
yeah, how it's run or whatever.
Sounds good. All right, thanks for listening.
All right, talk to you later.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.